I'm very pleased and honored and blessed to have Sandi Patty a part of our website today. How are you?
Hi, how are you today?
Great, how are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Great. Just want to thank you very much for your time. I know you're a very busy young woman with your schedule and your concerts and all the things you do for the Lord and His work, so I want to thank you very much for spending the time.
It is my pleasure.
Thank you. All right, well, for the first question, if you could please begin by talking and explaining how the Lord first wanted you to share your music with others and how the beginning of your career started.
Well, I grew up in the church. My dad was a minister of music. My mother was the church pianist, and so I just kind of grew up singing in the church. When I came to college, I came from California to Indiana to go to college, and I started studying music there, and I was at a little school that was very close to where Bill and Gloria Gaither lived, and they were looking for a backup singer at the time, and called me to see if I'd be interested, and I said, well, let me pray about it. Okay. And they gave me a wonderful opportunity to be able to share and learn from them, and that was about probably 30 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, if you can possibly share how the Lord saved you and how you knew Christ came into your heart to save you personally.
I remember very clearly it was on my 8th birthday, and I really, I wasn't a bad kid, but I just knew that, I guess at a very early age, that I needed the Lord to complete my life. And so I remember it was a Sunday night at church on my 8th birthday. I came forward at the end of the service and asked the Lord to be the Lord of my life.
Wonderful, and most wonderful, best decision you could ever make.
Absolutely.
That's right. Now, what's the Bible verse that has meant a lot to you over the years that still stays strong in your heart?
One of my favorites is John 8:31 and 32, and it says, if you continue in my word, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And I just find that to be absolutely so very true in my life.
Yes, that's a great Bible verse. Now, I know after you had released your first self-produced album, I believe it was called For My Friends, is that correct? Is that the name of it?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, yes. Now, did you ever think that your music would be as popular as it is today, several many years later?
No, it's funny that the first title was called For My Friends, because I really thought, that's just kind of what my music would be just for my friends. But, God began to open some doors that I'm so grateful for, and what started out as kind of a hobby, and 30 years ago, I'm still doing 30 years later.
Yeah, it's amazing. All the accomplishments you have been able to accomplish with the Lord's help is quite amazing. Now, so many people get their inspiration for their music from different situations or circumstances, and if you don't mind sharing where you possibly got the inspiration or the desire to record We Shall Behold Him.
I had heard that song. Somebody had, as many publishers do when other artists get ready to record, publisher sent me that song, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And the way I heard it the first time, it was just piano and a vocal. And I asked my friend David Clydesdale if he would give this some thought and put some orchestra to it, and he did just what I think is a spectacular job. And that's kind of how that song came to be.
Wow. That is amazing. I will just mention to you that I had a sister that had been killed in a bicycle accident several years ago. And when we had her funeral, they had played the song We Shall Behold Him, and ever since then it has never left me, and that is, I guess, one of the songs that is dear to my heart because of that. I want you to know that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, now, obviously a few years ago there had been a printing mistake on your last name, and then they had changed it, and then I don't think a lot of people knew about that, and I was wondering if you could explain a little bit about how that ended up happening.
Well, when I was born, and on my birth certificate it says Sandra F. Patty, P-A-T-T-Y.
Okay.
When I started recording a few years ago, there was actually a misprint on the first project with the record label, and they spelled it P-A-T-T-I. And so everybody thought that was just really cute, and they just kept it. And my name didn't mean as much to me as it does now. And, but, you know, for the last few years, as you know, God is just bringing healing to my life, I just thought, you know, I can't fix all the mistakes in my life this easily, but it was just kind of a representation of how God was bringing wholeness to my life.
Great. I appreciate that. Now, do you have anything you'd like to share from some of the past concerts you have done that were maybe perhaps something funny that happened or interesting, maybe while on stage while you were singing?
I guess the one thing that comes to my mind is that whenever there is a death section in the concert, I just enjoy that so much, and will often, you know, have them, if I'm doing We Shall Behold Them,
right.
You know, we'll often have them stand and sign the last part of that with me, and that is really very special.
That is great. That's good to hear that. Wow. Now, was there ever a time that you actually went blank on a song or maybe forgot the lyrics, and I'm kind of wondering what you did when that may have happened?
You know, that seems to be happening more lately. I don't know if it's my age or what, but I find I have to really practice a lot more to make sure that I don't forget the lyrics. But, you know, whenever I do, and it certainly has happened, that I just kind of make a joke out of it, and fortunately, somebody, you know, in the audience, maybe who's followed my career, will holler out the lyrics to me and help me get back on track.
Great. That's good. Well, good that they're there to help you, so.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now, what are your plans for the future as far as, I guess, future albums and books go? I know that you have a lot of tour dates coming up in the future that you booked for later this year.
Well, I have a new record that will be coming out in May called Songs for the Journey.
Oh, great.
And it's just a collection of songs that have meant a lot to me over the years. Some hymns, some Andre Crouch songs, just, you know, songs that have really touched my life. And so that's called Songs for the Journey. And then I also have a new book out right now called Layers. And it just kind of talks about how we, you know, maybe something has happened in our life that is so painful, and we tend to layer ourselves first as protection, but then maybe that layer becomes a little bit toxic, and we can't quite get to the healing of it. And so we have to peel those layers away. And you know, those layers can look different to different people. It may be alcohol or drugs or food or relationships or being overcommitted or you know, something that keeps us from feeling that pain in order to heal.
Right. Yeah, well, I do hope that will help many people and help them get closer to the Lord. So
I hope so too.
You're welcome. Now, I know in a few months on June 18th, you're going to be going to Washington, D.C. to receive the President's Merits Award, and I think that's really wonderful news for you. And I was wondering, do you have your acceptance speech prepared for that?
You know, I haven't honestly even thought about that.
Oh.
It is such a sweet honor. I just feel so overwhelmed and deeply, deeply grateful. And so I think it'll be a very fun evening.
That's great. Well, finally, I know you have your new album called Falling Forward out right now, and I was wondering if you'd like to share anything about that.
Well, actually, you know, the Falling Forward will be kind of set aside as we, you know, prepare for this new record, Songs for the Journey.
Okay.
But Falling Forward is one of those projects that I just, you know, I love songs that help me say what's on my heart. I don't write myself, so I have to, you know, rely on other people to really help me, you know, say what's on my heart. And so the songs from Falling Forward are just, you know, have just been wonderful songs, and especially the one Falling Forward that, you know, we can fall backwards and not learn from our mistakes, or we can fall forward. And, you know, somebody said the difference in a saint and a not is they get back up and keep walking. And, you know, I want to be able to do that in my life. Not that I won't have tough times, but I want to be able to be resilient and get back up after those tough times and keep going.
That's right. I have heard the song. I believe it's called "Into My Heart" from the album, and it's done very, very well, and you did a great job with that. So
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Well, I appreciate your time today, and thank you very much for spending some time to record the interview. I know, again, as I said earlier, you're a very busy person, and I appreciate you taking the time today, so thank you.
It is my honor. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.